You know, we often talk about chasing your dreams, right? We discuss the importance of setting goals and working tirelessly to achieve them. But what we don't talk enough about is the journey in between, the struggles, the obstacles, the walls that we all have to face when pursuing our dreams. The truth is, my friends, life is not a flat road. It is not a gentle path laid out for you to stroll on without resistance. Life is full of barriers, full of challenges, and sometimes these challenges can appear so daunting, so overwhelming that they can make you question your abilities, your efforts, and even your dreams. One of the biggest problems in life is that most people focus on the destination, on the end result, on the glory of success, but they fail to prepare for the journey, for the inevitable obstacles that come along the way. They fail to realize that the real battle is not in reaching the starting line, but in pushing through the struggles, in overcoming the walls that life throws at them. Now, what exactly are these walls? Well, they come in all shapes and sizes. Sometimes they are financial, sometimes they are emotional, sometimes they are psychological. Sometimes they are doubts in your mind, sometimes they are fears holding you back. Sometimes they are failures that seem to pile up. But whatever form they take, these walls are an inevitable part of life's journey. Let me share a little story with you. A long time ago, there were two young boys playing on the beach. Suddenly, their game was interrupted by the appearance of a stranger who began building a sandcastle. The boys were curious and asked the stranger if he could help them build an even bigger sandcastle. Excited, the stranger agreed and started showing them how to build a magnificent sand structure. The boys were thrilled and worked diligently alongside the stranger. However, after some time, the stranger suddenly left, leaving the boys to finish the sandcastle on their own. Disappointed, the boys packed up their things and went home. A few days later, the boys returned to the beach with the intention of building another sandcastle. As they started their project, they noticed the same stranger sitting nearby, observing them. Feeling embarrassed, the boys explained that they had tried to build a sandcastle without his help, and it hadn't turned out well. The stranger listened patiently, and then surprised the boys by saying, "You know, I am the king of a faraway land, and anyone who can build me a sandcastle worthy of a king will receive a grand reward." Intrigued, the boys immediately got to work, determined to impress the stranger. After hours of hard work, they completed their sandcastle, which was even more magnificent than before. Eager for the promised reward, they approached the stranger, expecting praise and recognition. However, the stranger simply shook his head and said, "It's too small. Build me something even bigger, and I'll consider rewarding you." Devastated, the boys were confused. They had put so much effort into their creation, and now it wasn't good enough. Feeling demoralized, they decided to go home. On the third day, the boys returned to the beach with renewed determination. This time, they built an enormous sandcastle that reached the sky. Excited, they rushed to the stranger and asked for their reward. But to their disbelief, the stranger once again shook his head. "Too small. Build me something even greater, and I might reward you." Overwhelmed with disappointment and anger, the boys realized that they had been tricked. In a fit of rage, they destroyed the sandcastle and stormed off. When they calmed down, the boys returned to the beach to clean up the mess they had made. As they started removing the debris, they noticed the stranger sitting quietly on the shore. He looked at the boys and asked why they were cleaning up the mess. The boys explained that they had been tricked and expressed their anger towards the stranger. Listening to their story, the stranger finally revealed himself as the king of a faraway land and apologized for tricking the boys. He explained that he had sent word throughout the kingdom for someone to build him a sandcastle, but nobody had come forward. Feeling sorry for the boys, the king offered them a chance to start over and build the sandcastle again. This time, he promised to be fair and give them a reward, no matter what they built. Touched by the king's apology and renewed determination, the boys agreed to try again. Working together, they built a beautiful sandcastle that symbolized their friendship and resilience. When they presented their creation to the king, he was impressed and kept his promise by giving them a generous reward. The boys returned home happy, realizing that true friendship and perseverance were more valuable than any material reward. As you listen to this tale, ask yourself, did the boys win in the end? Yes, they did. Did they achieve their goal? Yes, they did. Was it easy? Absolutely not. They faced countless obstacles. They encountered disappointments. They had reasons to quit, but they didn't. They pushed through the sadness. They persevered through the failures. They kept going despite the setbacks. And that is the spirit of conquering walls. You see, in life, you are bound to face challenges. No matter how talented you are, no matter how hard-working you are, there will come times when you hit a roadblock, when you face an obstacle that seems too high, too difficult, too painful to overcome. But the question is, what do you do when you face these walls? Do you break down? Do you lose faith? Do you give up on your dreams? Or do you pick yourself up? Do you dust yourself off and try again? Do you adapt and adjust your strategy? That is where the battle truly lies. That is where the real test of character takes place. I know it's easier said than done, but let me tell you something. Those who have climbed high, those who have achieved greatness, those who have reached the top, they didn't do it without facing walls. They didn't do it without falling. They didn't do it without failing. They did it by climbing every single wall that came their way. Remember this, my friends, behind every successful person, behind every great achievement, there is a long list of failures, rejections, and battles fought and won. So next time you face a wall, don't just stand there and stare at it. Don't just feel sorry for yourself. Don't just complain about your luck. Instead, look at that wall and say, I accept your challenge. I will not back down. I will not give up. I will fight until I reach the top. Because remember, the view is always better up there. The air is always fresher up there. The possibilities are endless up there. And it's not just about reaching the top for yourself. It's also about inspiring others. You don't know whose life you might change, whose hopes you might lift up, whose dreams you might ignite by conquering that wall. Your struggle may not have a meaning for you, but it could have a huge impact on someone else. So accept the walls, accept the challenges, accept the struggles, and when you face them head on. Don't just walk away from the battlefield. Don't just hide from your problems. Stand firm, stand tall, be courageous, be resilient, be persistent. In the words of the great Mahatma Gandhi, obstacles do not block the path, they are the path. So, my friends, embrace the walls in your life. Embrace the challenges, embrace the obstacles, and when you do, remember to stay humble, stay focused, and above all, stay determined. Because the walls you face today are the foundations of your future success. They are the stepping stones on your journey to greatness. They are the tests that will prepare you for even bigger triumphs. So keep going, keep climbing, keep pushing. One day, you will stand on top of that wall and look back at how far you've come, and you will know you are unstoppable.